Hello, my name's Noah, and welcome to Nerdverse. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. So if you have not seen it, go see it. It's a fantastic movie. Go and watch it, and then come right back here. So, I cannot believe that they got everyone in it. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and sadly not James Franco. But that's fine. I'm happy with all the characters they brought in. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, and William Dafoe as Green Goblin. Seeing them all on the screen together was just, it got my blood pumping. I was like cheering, and I do not cheer in movies, but when I saw them all swinging, I was just like, yes! It was just so fantastic. So I think before I go into the actual review of the movie, I think we need to go into what makes Spider-Man great. What's the heart of Spider-Man? And I think it really comes down to that with great power comes great responsibility quote, which they talked about in that whole scene with all three of them. And I just loved how they interacted with that, and how all of them were connected by this vengeance side of them, which Tom Holland felt in this movie. And I think it really gave him a lot of character development and growth. Seeing that when Aunt May died, just seeing that, well, first of all, she, in my opinion, that this Aunt May has been kind of my least favorite, but that scene just made me really hurt for him. And seeing him go through this whole transformation into vengeance, but then into saving, righting his wrongs, at the end, letting everyone forget him. It was very sad, and it was very, it was pretty intense. But I think all Spider-Man are connected to this great expectation kind of idea, right? Into the Spider-Verse really delves into that. You know, he has to do a paper report on Great Expectations book, and he does that art, no expectations. He wants no expectations. He wants just to live as he would do, which near the end of that movie, there's that scene.
Remember, what makes you different, let's go, is what makes you Spider-Man.
Nails home that, there's these expectations, but we often can't live up to them. But that's not always a bad thing, especially if those expectations are bad. But still, even if those are good and we don't live up to them, we have to learn from our mistakes. And I think that's what all these Spider-Men did. Andrew Garfield learning from his mistake with Gwen Stacy and being able to save MJ. That was such a fantastic moment. I think really redeeming for his character arc. Especially after they added that vengeance side of him after Gwen Stacy, that he might have potentially killed someone, saying, I stopped pulling my punches. I'm really interested in learning the background of that and seeing that, and potentially Amazing Spider-Man Home 3, which maybe they can connect to the Venomverse. That would be fantastic. I'd definitely watch it. But seeing them all together on the screen was fantastic. All the great villains returning. And it was just a fantastic movie. And I think at the heart of Spider-Man is that, there's that, like I said, the great expectation, this great power comes great responsibility. And that pressure of them, squeezes them into this hard place. I think of when Tobey Maguire tried giving up the mantle of Spider-Man, And at that moment, it was like, trying to move on, but he learned that he has responsibility, that, he can't back away. And I think all these Spider-Men go through that kind of thing. And I think that's what really connects them, is this trying to shrink from responsibility, but learning that they must face their responsibilities. So I think it's a great message. And I've loved Spider-Man since the beginning. Not the beginning of the comics. I wasn't alive for that. But for as long as I can remember, I've been a Spider-Man fan. I even played the old 2000 Spider-Man PS1 game. And I love, especially Spider-Man 2, the newer one on the PlayStation 2. So this movie was just spot on. And I think because, moving on to the second point, it's a love letter to all things Spider-Man. It just doesn't get to the heart of Spider-Man. But then beyond that, it goes and makes the extra mile of, not in a cheesy way, referencing all these movies. I mean, making reference to the memes of, Tobey Maguire, My Back, and, it was just, it was hilarious. Alfred Molina saying, the power of the sun in the palm of my hands. And they did such a great job feeling like it went right in from the movies into the movie. And it just felt so surreal, like, Doc Ock is fighting against Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like, this is so crazy. I just love that, and they did such a great job integrating that. And I love that all the Spider-Men had their own swinging type of styles, poses in the air before they landed on the Statue of Liberty. That was just a fantastic scene. I cheered so many times in this movie. I never cheer in movies. The only other movie that got me to cheer was Avengers Endgame at the, Avengers Assemble moment.
Avengers! Assemble.
Who wouldn't cheer at that? If you didn't, no judgment. I couldn't stop myself from cheering. But this movie was fantastic. As a Marvel movie, I would give it a 4 out of 4 stars. It did such a great job with the character and connecting to the other universes. Spider-Man beating Doctor Strange with math. That was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. As a movie in general, I would give it a 3.5 stars. Just because it does rely on the MCU background and other movies to push it forward. And I think, and that's what makes the MCU so fun and makes it so great. But as a standalone film, it doesn't, stand alone. So that's really the only reason I'd take that halfway star. Other than that, I really don't have much nitpicks of this movie. I enjoyed it. Maybe there's a few scenes that I was like, huh? But it was only slightly. And I haven't had that much fun in a movie theater in a long time. So I'm very glad they did it, and they're very talented people. So thank you. This has been Nerdverse, and subscribe for some more.